Can't you see the similarities between us? Take a minute and see yourself in the mirror. You look like me, those eyes, lips, you can't deny. Have you thought about why we look the same? Why we feel the same? Don't tell me it's by chance. Oh, you're my brother, you're my sister, we're one big family. Oh, oh, you're my brother, you're my sister, just one big family.
Hello and welcome to CAG International Water Project. Um, our end goal with this project, which we pray Almighty God bless us and make us achieve it, is to create a sense of unity among the human race. It is very disheartening when we all look around the world today and seeing discrimination among what we call the human race. It is very difficult for people of different places to work together and cooperate with one another to achieve a certain goal. So we want to explore the world with this project. We want to virtually visit places of the world by inviting people of these places to actually share with us and we to learn from them. What are the causes of these diversities and what are the practicable solutions that we all can engage ourselves in for we to be able to work together irrespective of where we come from, irrespective of our color, our tribe, our language, or our religion, or any other human factors that might want to diversify us. That what we should prioritize is actually who we are, is actually the human race, and not any human factors. Uh, Join me as we explore where I come from, Nigeria. It is with great pleasure that I present to you a mentor, a role model, a leader, Mr. Sharif Adekoya.
Good afternoon. My name is Sharif Adekoya. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure that I'm opportune to be part of these conversations. Uh, if I am allowed to start the conversation right away, for me, diversity is natural, and diversity is part of human race. It is part of who we are, and we really can find a way to erase it. We really can just learn to manage, respect, and show understanding. Basically, diversity started from the first day we've got into the space called Earth. So the guy on the street of Lagos is different, who is a Lagosian by birth, by everything, is different from the guy who is from the street, one street in Tokyo. And at the same time, that guy is different from whatever you can find from Riyadh. And is indeed not the same thing with the guy who is from Ouagadougou. So if you cross all of these across and then land your thinking around New Orleans, or you take it far to Manchester, wherever you take it to in the world, we are definitely very different. So all of these things are cascaded together, and this is why we see a diversified views from different series and places of human endeavor and existence. We really cannot find any way to erase this, like I said earlier, but we just can show understanding, live with it, and make it better. It is when we flog the negative part of our existence, our differences, that is when we peel off and then pull up the negative side of diversity. And that is why when we run into theories and practices and issues around race, racism, ethnocentrism, stereotype, and the likes. So, but the moment we soar above all of these individual or human differences to the level of communal or societal tolerance and unity, peaceful coexistence, we realize that diversity in itself, rather than be a cause, can actually be a sort of succor and partnership to quite a number of human challenges. We know from history and from different archives and records. There are quite a number of things that you enjoy in the comfort of your room in Baltimore was created or founded on somewhere in the desert around Kenya, or that same standard that I love to always put on was made by somebody from Pisa, somewhere in Italy. So you know it cuts across. We really can leverage on ourselves. If we delve a bit into economics, we will speak into theories and topics like comparative economics or comparative advantages. So all of these advantages can be aggregated for us to have a peaceful, united world. You really can have it all. We consume apple. Some of the apples are not even grown or planted in Africa. And I'm sure there's virtually no part of the world where people don't consume cassava flakes any longer, popularly called Gary. So why am I saying this? We are different as a people. We are different in orientation, in expectation, in mindset. So diversity as it is from nature, we know this can be changed. So why then do we have our diversity get super expanded, the gap between us? How come we are like this? How come we find ourselves where we have found ourselves now? You will realize that, like I said, the British is different from Africa. And gone are those days when we had the slave trade and those dark days. Put the dark days behind us. Have we been able to capitalize on the natural and regional benefit that comes from who we are or where we find ourselves? And have we been able to aggregate and align our thinking to the mindset of the century, 19th, 18th, 20th, or 21st century, or 22nd centuries? Or do we still live in the past? Do we enjoy the same sporadic or progressive development that other parts of the world, other regions in the world experience? If not, even if you got twins or triplets, if you expose and subject them to different cadres of all of these attributes, you give birth to a set of triplets that you've got one somewhere in Asia, another in Africa, and the other one somewhere in Australia. You'll be shocked, somewhere in America. You'll be shocked that over the years, their orientation and mindset would definitely be different unless you have an aggregated center force that monitors where all of these things come together and come to align. But if not, you sure will have 3 different fully grown men or women. So why am I taking this conversation across these territories? We need to understand that diversity is real. We can't do anything about it, but we really just can check and manage the gap in our differences. So the gap in our differences can actually be the gap from orientation, mindset, expectations, and development, because all of this and put together would form how I see you and how you see me, and how I see the white guy from Bulgaria, how I see that the Chinese, how I express my feeling towards the Indian, and how the Indian expresses his dismay or his happiness to the South African, how the Kenyan sees the guy from Belarus. So it's a center stage where every element of difference should enjoy tolerance and respect. It is not in any way possible. It is not in any way possible that we can have one orientation cut across the world. We will definitely be different across the religious divide, ethnic divide, orientation divide, quite a number of things. Even if you find yourself to be an architect, you'll still find element of difference. You'll see some people are impressionist, some are conservative, creative, so you would always have all of these. So our diversity is going to be endless because that's always been like that. So what exactly can we then do to it? Number one, that we can bring to the table to manage this, to show understanding. But you really can't show understanding to somebody who has not enjoyed or who has not been part of any developmental orientation. There's no way whosoever is not civil or civilized would show you some level of understanding that you anticipate. There are ways you speak to people, even sometimes you extend negative remarks, which is objective. I'm sorry, I don't think I feel comfortable sitting around you. There are ways you express all of this with pure orientation, with pure understanding. These are products of orientation, mindset, and so much more that are products of the development that we have all gone through. We've seen intellectual, cognitive development, physical development, maybe societal infrastructural development. What education, what societal reform, societal norms and ethics am I open and subjected? Even within multinationals, you walk into some organization, you would understand and see or feel a plainly different aura. And when you leave and walk into another, you would realize from the first second that you are indeed in a different territory. So diversity is endless. So the only way or the gateway to finding and delivering ourselves or locating ourselves to the territory of unified front is to ensure that we all belong to a world that grows at a similar pace. Not the same pace, but similar pace. Because it will be so difficult if you operate at the level of, let me use the academic cadence to explain. It will be difficult if somebody is at the PhD level and having a conversation with someone who is at kindergarten level. There are quite a number of things that, even when we speak the same English, if I say to a toddler that Mr. Smith kicked the bucket, the toddler, even if he or she understands English, she would query, is Mr. Smith a naughty person? Why would he kick the bucket? But if you understand English, connotative to a certain extent, you understand that Mr. Smith is no more. Right. So you understand. So this is evident in who we are. So if I think I want to show understanding to who you are, that I need to shift. I need to respect our differences. I need to respect who you are. You are a Muslim. I am not a Muslim. Is a Buddhist. Is Hindi or is Indian. Is an Asian Muslim, an American Muslim, an African Christian, or a South American Christian. There are several levels of differences cascade across a vector of matrix. You are tall, short, brilliant, or educated, non-educated, Christian, African, or you can have it on the flip side, educated, Muslim, Asian, or non-educated Muslim, African. So, but all of these cannot be solved with just one stroke of blanket solution. But there's something that is big enough that like a gateway through which all of these can be aggregated and an enduring solution can be found, and which is the respect. But it will be difficult for you to show respect when you do not have the orientation of why respect is critical. So it's more or less like asking people to own up to a dream. You really cannot own on to what is elusive. You can only, on any ground, own up to what you see, what you can perform. That is where you can own up to it. You're asking me as a junior employee to own up to the growth of this company, my responsibilities. So if you tell me if I own up, if you do this, you become this in 6 months, you become this in 7 months, and after a year you become this, then I've seen that path. I've seen cause and effect. If I do this, I get this. Then owning up to that path of doing those things becomes visible and it becomes feasible for me because I can see it, then I can invest myself in it. But if I can't, or in any way think this is elusive, then you can always count me out. Do you get? So it's right. Always a function of, does it exist? Do I know about it? Am I concerned? What effect does it leave on me? Am I relevant to changing it? Do I even believe it can be changed? Am I a part to those who believe it should be changed? Then what can we do? What it requires for it to be done? Do I have what it takes? So it's a barrage of endless questions.
Right.
But the reality
thank you
is,
so much. Before you move on to dictating the practicable solutions, from what you've said so far, you've made us understand that it is very possible for we to work together as humans. You've made us understand that our religion, our culture, our background, our language shouldn't be a barrier of working together as humans. You've also made us understand that we need one another. Much more that the Chinese needs Nigerian, the Nigerians need the Chinese. much that the Russians need Americans, the Americans need the Russians. So if we all can understand this, that we need one another, the world will be a very better place for we to live together in peace and harmony. Uh, I have a quick question, sir, before you move on to detailing the practicable solutions. So
Yes.
are we to judge individuality in terms of um, dealing with one another, or we should prioritize um, religion, culture? For example, when I see a Russian behave somehow, does that determines or qualifies that that is the way the whole of Russians behaves, or we should judge one another individually?
If the moment we undertake that, we sure have violated our thinking and orientation of what and diversity and inclusion means. Once you run into a Yoruba Muslim or an American Christian or a German uh, Buddhist or an educated Russian or uh, a Norwegian lawyer, whatever attribute defines that person from an individualistic perspective should be addressed on that same level. Attributes or elements of differentiation must not, I repeat, must not and should not on any ground be applied to the commonality of that person. How do I mean? If a Nigerian misbehaves, it should be dealt with as Mr. XYZ, not
Not him or her being a Nigerian.
no, definitely not. If you do that, you're already building a case of prejudice. You're building a case of stereotype. That would, on the reverse, make you start feeling because I'm in Nigeria, we are the best. Because I am Yoruba, we are the best. So that is the spirit of ethnocentrism. And that's exactly why we don't have a healthy relationship around several parts of the world. I have actually had bitter experience from people who are not of my faith, people who are not from my tribe. And I've had beautiful, memorable experience from people from same and similar or same faith and same tribe. So you get it, because Mr. Smith from Manchester is not a very good person or not trustworthy, does not make the whole of Manchester, the city, the town, or the center of insincere people.
Right.
So because one Christian stole money, that does not in any way mean Christians are thieves. And because a Muslim was found fighting on the streets of Paris, the guy is disturbing the entire peace, the peace of the entire Gare. No, that does not mean Muslims are violent. No, it does not. It does not. On no ground should we always think and act like that. If we do that, what we are doing, we are depleting the element of unity and fanning and fomenting and fanning the fire of diversity. And it will lead us to nowhere. Like I said earlier, there is no part of the world, as I speak to you, there's no, okay, let me put it this way. There's no civilized part of the world where you won't find elements from other parts of the world. Do you get it? That iPhone that you use on the street of London, or on the street of Helsinki, you would be shocked that part of the component that made of that phone is from DRC in Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo. Right. So the car I drive has got elements across China, Japan, if not from Germany. The laptop with which I speak with you, I've got elements across different companies from different people across the world. So why do we have to always apply blanket mindset? That's exactly why I was clamoring, and I deliberately used that term, collective or societal orientation. And that is why it is mutually beneficial for the entire world And that's exactly why we see one or two first, quite a number of first world nations and quite a number of top global organizations trying so hard to bring development to par, at least to a certain sizable level. We've seen United Nations dish out the Millennium Development Goal, the Sustainable Goal. We've got 17 of them. Why? Because we want everybody to at least operate at one benchmark reasonable level. Nobody lives below this level. So if you find yourself at least basic education, you would understand what respect means. You will know that booing me because I am black has no place in human existence.
Right.
So if you do not have that education to understand or fathom this, then I probably may be throwing water into the basket.
Right. Thank you so much, sir. Focusing on Nigerian perspective, because we are actually touring Nigeria right now. You are representing the whole of Nigeria in terms of the way Nigeria sees humanity. So, so if you can elaborate more on, do Nigerians believe they are better than some sect of people? Do Nigerians believe they can't work or relate with other people of different places? Do Nigerians believe they are the best people of the world? Are Nigerians able to collaborate with other people of different places in creating an enabling environment wherever they are?
Well, thank you so very much. The value and the respect index that you find on any man or any community in the world is not a function that is earned by individuality of that a person. For instance, the two best footballers in the world in the last 10 years or 15 years are C. Ronaldo and Lionel Messi. So would you say every Argentine is a great footballer? Would you say every Portuguese is a fantastic footballer? No, definitely not. But the collectivity, sometimes individual achievement can be an offshoot or maybe an offshoot of that collective consciousness or collective orientation. You've seen it, we've seen it in movies. And I do tell people, one of the most respected police forces in the world is the British police. They've got respect. Excuse me, sir. Your hand behind the back, sir. You get? So it's a function of how the society respects them individually, collectively, and the communal level. So it gives communal consciousness to them. You see, the word humanity, except for the fact that it starts with H and ends with Y and resides in the dictionary, transcends the societal value, and it is translated by the attributes and the acts and attributes or the activities of the society or the system to it. There are parts of the world where the word humanity does not really exist in the true sense of it, and there are parts of the world where you see the best of humanity. Yes, we can find both across the entire length and breadth of the world, but we've got them largely deposited, the negative one in some parts than the positive one, and vice versa. So if we speak from Nigerian perspective, objectively, Nigerians on the individual front respect humanity. That is why you see Nigerians thrive everywhere they find themselves. And Nigerians will always want to give you helping hands. It's a known fact. I'm not saying this because I'm in Nigeria. It's something we have all seen. It's captured on record. You've seen it everywhere. But the societal system, the societal values that we are supposed to have, that is supposed to be the aggregate of our individual values, is being watered down by the leadership system that we have in Nigeria. Do you get? So if you subject me to abject poverty, how else can you abuse my humanity? If you take away opportunities for me to become literate, what more do you need to do to abuse my humanity? If you take away electricity that I know is possible from me, how much abuse can you bring to the table? So you understand, because humanity in itself is not just because Mr. Sada is a farmer. He lives in whatever he lives, and he's got blood in his veins, and he's got two eyes. No, that is human being. So humanity is what he gives, his orientation, and what society gives to him. How we respect or how he respects the society. So the society on the individual level of Nigerians, we respect and love ourselves. But of course, when we say the system is corrupt and the system is disrespectful, the system is not a function or a product of some aliens. It is a function or a collective effort of some people, which of course at the same time you can actually arrogate to be another harm of the offshoot of people. Meaning some of these people, most of the system that we complain is made up of people from who we are, but not all of us believe or act in that way. So
Right.
if we take it back to productivity and extended relevance, Nigerians as Nigerians individually respect humanity. We
Right.
appreciate it. If you take it back from the origin and the cultural perspective, we do. Nigerians see themselves, they pride themselves as Nigerians, they pride themselves as one of the most hardworking people you can run to in the world, one of the most educated people. If you take statistics in US, you'll be super elated. If you take statistics, I have seen videos, I've seen reports, people coming up from different parts of the world studying the Omungo, what do you call it? The artisan system in Igbo communities. So to tell you, Nigerians are industrial, Nigerians are developmental, Nigerians are super conscious of everything human being needs to know. So that tells you that Nigerians see themselves and pride themselves as front rockers when it comes to humanity indices.
Thank you so much, sir. You've made us understand that within Nigerians themselves, they appreciate and values one another. Just to be sure, are we clear that Nigerians are able to, work with other people of different places?
It is a known fact. My first experience of working with a foreigner was way back in 2008 when I worked with a German. And I can remember one of our presentations at one of the leading bank then. The head of corporate communication said, Sharif, if I have my way, I will snatch you. My dear colleague said, no, sir, you can't. They don't do that in Germany, so it's not going to be possible. She's a German. We work together in a consulting firm back then. And this, you really do not even need to ask this. There's virtually no national that you won't find in Nigeria. The Chinese, the Japanese, the Koreans, the Russians, the Americans, the Belgian. We've got all of them in
And
Nigeria. And
Nigerians welcome
everywhere in
all
the
these
world.
people very well.
Oh, sure, yes, we do. We do. You see Chinese wearing agbada and the like. Some of them even learn to speak Yoruba, speak Igbo. And at the same time, you see Nigeria everywhere in the world. Just there's an informal theory or street adage that says any part of the world where there's no Nigeria, my brother, take off. Maybe there's no progress there. If there's progress in the moon, Nigerians will find their way there.
Right.
So that's it.
Thank you so much, sir. So we've understand that Nigerians within Nigerians are able to work and cooperate with one another. Nigerians
Definitely.
within other people of different places are as well able to work and cooperate with one another in
Absolutely.
creating unity and enabling environment. From what I understand, sir, being a Nigerian myself, we have three main tribes. We have the Igbo tribe, the Hausa, and the Yoruba tribe. Looking into this and comparing it with other people of different cultures and tribes as well, do you think the diversity in terms of tribes and culture can be a determinant of how we relate with one another? I mean, can a Yoruba man marry an Hausa man? Can people of different tribe or culture get married to one another in terms of creating unity within both tribes and cultures?
We're supposed to talk about the question is basically about the diversity and the respect as captured or espoused in the marriage history, or the way we respect ourselves when it comes to marriage, or how much of marriage we see across all of these tribal or ethnic divides. So, and I was going to say to you that to make it a bit more robust or elaborate, we will take the division to the second level by making it a 3D analysis. So we've got the horizontal division and the vertical division. So what it means is we have the division across the religious divide, the two major religions, Christians and the Muslims, or Christianity and Islam. So what it means is we now have Igbo Muslim, Igbo Christian, we have Hausa Christian, Hausa Muslim, and we have Yoruba Muslim and Yoruba Christians. So 6 groups to deal with within the entity called Nigeria. If you go by 3 major ethnic or tribal divisions. You see, before now, the true definition of unity is what you find in Nigeria. But I can tell you categorically that we have areas of intersection, and that's exactly where you see more of these integrations. If you take it from Nigeria, you know, when you have a Pantone, maybe Pantone of color, or Pantone of depth, or Pantone of intensity. So if you take it from Lagos, and you say, okay, Lagos, Yorubas, across all of the states, Yoruba states, and you end it around Ondo. So the closest to Ondo people are the Edo people, the Edo and the Delta people. And they are as well the borderline between the south and the east. So now we see them as south. So that's why you see some Edo, most Edo, they are more or less like Yoruba. So these are the middle points, just like we have the middle belt between the central and the northern, the south and the north. So you see, you'll experience a lot. We have a lot of marriages, inter-ethnic marriages. A lot of Adeshagun getting married to Adese. A lot of Inemesites getting married to Ismail. It may probably not be captured in a lot of reports because we are really not a data-driven people. But our culture, when I was growing, I grew up in a compound where we had at least 3 people from different tribes. I'm an Ijebu man. We grew up with an Ondo man in my house, an Ondo family. We've got the Calabar family, Mr. Nkwana, Chief Nkwana of blessed memory, a brilliant man, a mathematician, a very close friend to Professor Chikeobi. We grew up together. Maybe one of the reasons why I love mathematics so much. We grew up together. We call him Baba Calabar, and we tell him, I'm not Baba Calabar, I'm Baba Nigeria. And 2 of his daughters got married to Yoruba people. And one of his daughter married an Hausa. So it happens. So that is who we are. So if that is who we are already married before marriage. So marriage is just the official consummation of our relationship. My best friend from the day one, when I was way young, from a primary 1 to primary 6, Emmanuel Idiong. So with the name, you know he's not from Ijebu.
Right.
So that's
an Igbo man.
No, not Igbo. It's Calabar. So I'm getting a bit political now. That's when we drill further and drill down. But yes, he's a Nigerian.
So in summary, sir, so you've enlightened us that if people of different tribes or culture get married to one another, it is very possible and it can enhance love and unity between those 2 tribes.
Well, definitely, it exists. That's exactly why they can get married to each other in the first place.
Thank you, sir. So to sum it all up, the last question I have for you, sir, is there any generational inheritance in terms of mentalities and the way we see one another as humans?
Well, definitely, there are quite a lot of things that are not respected, or that are not that are quite a very big gap. There's a very big gap. It's a gulf. It's a gulf. How do I mean? You see, the truth is in advertising and marketing specifically, and it is used across different walks of life too. So they are classified along the line. That's where you see different terms like traditionals, baby boomers, what do you call them, millennials, Generation Y, Generation Z, and all of this. It's basically big because of their psychographics, the way they think, right, the way they see. So people of former generations, some of them believe in materialism from a perspective of concrete aggregation. So an old man can actually decide to start saving because he wants to build a house. He will save up to buy a car. But generations of these days, they would rather always take Uber or take Taxify or take Bolt. So what that means is this is the generation of the borrowers. Some of these guys are eye uppers, while the generations before us are not. So that's why you see some people who get long service award. You see people who graduate at 26 back then, and they retire at the same office at 65. I've spent about 49 years serving just one firm, whereas in less than 6 years, members of this generation will have changed jobs like minimum of 3 or 4 times. So there are quite a lot of things that differentiate us from the generations before us. Our thinking, our mindset, our attitude, and the way we see things. Let me go a bit cheesy, not too cheesy too. Before now, gone are those days. Before you can think of buying Mercedes Benz, at least from where I am from, Nigeria and Southwest Nigeria, you really must be very wealthy and you must have attained certain age before you can buy Mercedes Benz.
Right.
As in that brand specifically. But right now, 22-year-old guy who can afford it wants to buy it. In fact, those days, if you are very young at a very tender age, your parents will never allow you build a house. Even if you build, you will never take ownership before anybody. You know, mindset. But right now, you see young, not even guys, ladies taking charge. At 26, people want to drive Rolls Royce. So it's a shift. So that's exactly why we tell people, and when we speak to brands, we tell them, if you want to sell or approach people or talk to people about specific changes, it probably may be lame for you to look at them from demographics alone. Demographics will help you basket them. But to understand their thinking and the behavioral trends, it will be fine if you go the way of psychographics. What is their thinking? And is it, there's a big difference. And this present age respects more. They honor diversity more. They show more tolerance. They show more understanding because we have higher ratio of educated people now. They probably may not be educated as a four walls, but yes, there's internet. So people see things. People know more now. Unlike those days when we need to wait for newspaper or we need to sit and wait at 9 p.m. to catch on to the news. So that's what this generation are saying. We've seen more inclusion, but we need to still scale it up.
Thank you so much, sir. It's our pleasure having you, sir. We've learned a lot from how you've discussed today. You've made us understand that it is very possible that we work together as humans, irrespective of our color, our tribe, our culture, our religion, or our language.
Definitely.
It is very possible that
Definitely.
we work together as humans. You've given us certain practicable solutions in creating a sense of unity among the human race. You said we all need one another and we should respect and value one another.
Absolutely.
We can work together, we can get married to one another, respective of our tribe or our culture. We can as well appreciate the blessings and the uniqueness of each country to one another. We all cannot have the same thing. We can't be blessed with the same thing. But whatever we are blessed and opportunity to have, we should respect and value that uniqueness. We thank you so much, sir, and we thank you so much for your time. And we pray may God Almighty continue to bless and be with you. We will leave you to enjoy the rest of your day, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Absolutely enjoyed it. Thank you.